Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. So today, as you can see, my interview person is Miss Shae. This is my 10-year-old daughter. Are you actually 10 already? Yeah, you're actually 10 already. It's crazy. But we have a really special relationship, and I think it's pretty awesome. The things that we're able to talk about, things that she's willing to ask me, the things that we do in order to make it more comfortable to understand life and understand our bodies and understand everything. She does ask me questions that we don't always answer. But we do go over a lot of things. And I think it'll be helpful for any moms that have daughters that are, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, whatever. Like I know that I was super close, am super close with my mom, but I was not comfortable having these kinds of conversations with her. But gosh, I wish I was because it would have made a lot of guessing not happen. It would have gone a lot better. So we're just going to talk a little bit back and forth. We do not have a script for this. We don't have an outline to go off of or anything like that. We're just going to kind of go over some of the things that we do, some of the things that we talk about.
And basically, we're gonna play it by ear.
We're gonna play it by ear, which she thought earlier was play it by year. So that wouldn't have made sense. But we're just gonna kind of give you a little bit of insight about how we kind of run our relationship to make sure that we keep everything kind of out in the open and real clear and on the same page. So that way, hopefully, we set up a good foundation for, when life gets real sticky later on when you're a teenager and all that fun stuff. So, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Shae. I'm 10 years old, and today I went to the dentist and got my last two teeth pulled.
Yeah, yeah, she was getting this is how much of a little badass she is. And yes, I cuss in front of her. Trust me, she knows how to use and spell all the words, but we don't use them at school and we don't use them in front of grandma, do we? So, anyway, this one had some sore teeth and she's never had sore teeth before, never had a cavity, but we were concerned because yeah, so oh, that's gross. Don't do that. So we went to the dentist this morning and it was just that her last two baby teeth were giving her a really hard time. And the dentist looked at her is like, well, we have two options. We can either leave them as they are, you can take some ibuprofen or Tylenol and let them work their own way out, or we can pull them. And she opted to get them pulled, which included her first experience with Novocaine, and she wasn't a big fan of that. But you survived and you did great, and you've been just kind of hanging out the rest of the day. Yeah?
Mm.
What'd you think of Novocaine?
Um,
Oh.
it
It did
hurt.
hurt, didn't it? But you laid there and you handled it. She handled it well. So I guess Shay, what kinds of questions do you like to ask me?
Sex and puberty questions.
Yeah, sex and puberty questions. Okay, listen, this is gonna be maybe a little bit awkward, but here's the thing. Sex and puberty are a part of life, and I think it's really, really important for our kids to be able to ask us certain questions about it so that they understand what it is. She knows exactly what all of it is because one, well, life is gonna happen, and someday those things are gonna be a part of her life, but I don't want her to, one, freak out, the first day that, periods happen and stuff. I want her to be prepared for what that is and not think that she's dying or something and just say, "Hey, mom, like, this is what's going on."
And if you don't feel comfortable, like if you have a kid that doesn't feel comfortable talking about that stuff, get them a notebook and they can write it in there.
Yeah, that is something we do. So our good friend Heidi Hall, who I actually have coached for a long time, and Shay's met her multiple times now. She's awesome. She sent me this post one day and it was absolutely fantastic. So the idea is that there is a special notebook that is just between the two of you. No one else will read it. But if she's uncomfortable asking me something, face to face, what she can do is she just writes in the notebook, writes her question down, and she leaves it like either at my placemat or on my pillow. And then when I see it, I read it, I respond, I either leave it on her placemat or on her pillow, and that's it, right? She picked out the notebook, she picked out the pen, everything that goes with it, and it makes it really easy. So we can talk back and forth around, more of the awkward questions. So I think that that'll be really good continuing on. But then as far as, like the sex conversation, I know that that's really awkward for a lot of people. Uh, But in today's world, and she understands, there's not always a lot of good people, and I didn't want her to not know what was going on if something bad was happening to her, and I needed her to understand, like, that is a no, and you need to tell me about it, and you claw that sucker's eyes out if that is what happens, right? Yes. Um, so I guess going on from there, let's see, what other things have you asked me? What do you wanna talk about?
I've asked a lot about puberty and things not to do when I get older.
Things not to do, don't repeat mommy's mistakes, that's a big one. But, like, okay, so puberty stuff, right? We're not quite there, I think we're getting there, but
It's like how to put like
how to use
how to,
different things?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so my experience with the whole, tampon situation, sorry guys, if there's any men listening, you may not wanna listen to this, but I got to learn how to use one via the pamphlet, inside the box, which was certainly not very helpful, but we've talked about a little bit how to use them and the different options, and when that does become the case, walk you through exactly kind of what to expect and what to do, so that way it's, we know we're using it right, and then it works, and then it's not as uncomfortable, right? And then you're going to be a pro for the rest of your life because, well, you get to use that until you're at least 45 or 50. So there's that. We've also talked a lot about hormone fluctuations and things like that to, really understand for her. So we've talked a lot about how, like, your energy will change or how moods might change or, yeah, emotions might change, right? Have your emotions gotten bigger lately?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we get kind of self-critical, like we kind of dig at ourselves a little bit when we do something wrong? Maybe a little bit. So something that I think is really helpful to understand is when your kiddos, girls or boys, to put it that way too, but girls are the ones that are most often talked about with this. Those hormone fluctuations can cause a whole lot of just like confusion for them. They don't even understand why they feel the way that they feel, or why we have such big emotions, or what's going on. And I just really wanted to be forward with her and understand, hey, when we have those big emotional moments, it's okay to have them. We need to understand what's going on. So I feel like instead of just comforting, which I will, right, when we go through those moments, I also explain why we might be having those moments and what's going on in our bodies and what types of hormones and chemical releases are going on in our bodies to cause us to feel that way. So Shay likes to talk to me about those kinds of things a lot, which is great. We've also talked about your athletics and stuff around it too. What have you learned with that?
So if you play basketball in the week of your puberty, you'll actually become more faster and more
Stronger.
stronger.
Yeah. So the week of your period.
Week of
Yeah.
period, not puberty.
There we go.
Sorry.
Yep. Hey, that's cool. This is what we do this for, right? So, I talked to a lot of my adult clients about this, but a lot of people don't think about it with kids that are, getting ready to go through puberty, getting ready to grow up into high school and stuff. And then girls just don't understand who are especially athletes or athletic or active or anything like that, what's going on. And something that I think is really cool to really understand and help them understand is the week that you get your period each month and the week after that, those 2 weeks, you're gonna be a little powerhouse and you can run faster and you can jump higher and you can just like crush all of the practices and the workouts and stuff. But what happens like the week right before your period?
You get really tired and you want to not do anything.
Yeah, I mean, that can happen, right? So she already understands that the week before your period, like, is actually called the luteal phase. But that is going to be when we're kind of tired. That's going to be when our energy shifts and our hormones are really dropping out. It's going to be when we may not be able to perform as well at our sports of choice, like basketball. But we can also optimize, exactly how we work with that. So, when she does get to that point and it's that week, it'll be really helpful for her to understand, if we have a game or a tournament that weekend, maybe during the week, we don't push as hard during practice as we usually do. And we preserve some of that energy and body stress for like that one event for the game or the games instead of trying to push so hard all week and just running our body down with our hormones going down too. So you've kind of understood that now so far. And she asks me all kinds of questions about where I'm at in mine and my cycle and everything all the time, just so she can compare and contrast. What other things have you learned, or what other things do we talk about?
We talk about like when your puberty stop, period stops.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about, what to expect with, like, menopause and stuff too. Obviously, she's a number of years away from that, so am I. But I just think it's really interesting and helpful for her to understand too, like, yes, we're going to go through puberty and we're going to get periods, and that sets us up to be able to have babies. And what makes babies?
Eggs,
Well, yes, but what action? What do you have to do to make?
sex,
Yes, see, now we understand these things. So after you have your period for the first time, if you do have sex with someone, the baby could happen, right? So those are things that are really, really important to understand. Your body doesn't realize or really care that you're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever, and it just knows that it's trying to make life, right? So it doesn't really care that you have basketball and goals and college or whatever else that is that you want to do first. It just wants to procreate. So understanding that your body's getting ready to go through those things is really helpful and important. But then yeah, we talk about how, later on in our 40s and into our 50s, depending who you are, your period's gonna stop. You run out of eggs, and we go through these other changes. And I'm actually learning a lot about that right now too, because I'm working with a lot of ladies that go through that. Yeah, I'm reading a book right now about it too, which is really, really helpful.
it's
Um,
called the new
Yep,
menopause.
the new menopause. It's a really, really good one if you have not um heard of it. It is brand new by Mary Claire Haver. Excellent read. Lots of great information in there. But anyway, I coach a lot of ladies that are going through perimenopause, getting ready to approach menopause and then postmenopause, and understanding all of the lingo with it, how the hormones change, what we may go through, side effects, all those things are really important. But something that I heard the other day that I think is really, really helpful to understand is, yes, we go through puberty, right? And going through puberty is when not only we get our periods, but our bodies change. Our boobs start to grow in, right? Whoa, we got a big eye going on that one. She's not ready for that yet. So that changes. Our hips kind of start to form in. We are able to grow more muscle a lot faster because estrogen and testosterone are on our side for it, which is really exciting stuff. But then when we go to menopause, it's kind of like going backwards from puberty. It's like kind of puberty in reverse. And so your body starts to change again. And it's just really important to understand all the different phases of life that you're going to go through. So I think it's really cool that you have such intuitive, thoughts and questions about all of it. What do you think?
I think it's a good thing to know because if you go through it earlier, a little earlier than you're supposed to, or menopause happens to you a little bit earlier, you know that it's happening and you're not scared of it.
Yeah, it's all about
Afraid.
having the knowledge, right? Right. If you have the knowledge, then, knowledge reduces fear. And if you don't have fear, you're not fearful of getting your period. You're not fearful of growing boobs. We're gonna have to buy more stuff. Dad's not ready for that at all. If we're not get back up here. If we're not fearful of, what happens, when we're getting older and we understand what to kind of look for when our body's going through more changes, then, just helps to understand because then you're not scared of it. You just kind of know how to manage it, and we can tweak how we're doing life and what we're doing in order to make it better. Yeah. Do you go talk to your friends at school about all this stuff?
No.
No, we do not talk to our friends at school about this
No.
stuff. Apparently, she has entire anatomy lessons on the bus anyway. Do you have a lot of things that you learn on the bus?
Possibly.
Yes, the bus is a scary place, you guys. I think I would learn things on the bus. Ugh. So yeah, there's that. But let's see, what else do we want to talk about? What else is there?
We always talk about how like the
Talk louder.
how how sex happens and how
How's
it works.
Yeah, how it works, where things go. Yep. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I think it's important to have that conversation. And some people like to use like a book, or some people like to take their kids to a farm, right? If you take your kids to a farm or cattle farm, pig farm, goat farm, whatever, they're going to be breeding there. Then they kind of understand that things go places and it's all right out there in front of you in the pasture, right? That kind of helps too. But I just think that it's helpful to have that conversation once again. So we know like, hey, that is my personal space. And if I am not ready or want you to touch that personal space, then that's a no. And you're allowed to say no, because we know what leads to what. And so I think that that's just, it's great to have those kind of open conversations, but also having that notebook has been really, really helpful to have at least the beginning parts of those conversations to get out in the open. Um, let's see, what other things could we chat about? You got anything you want to bring up? Nothing? Okay, so if anyone is listening that's maybe a mom like me that has kiddos your age,
Or like me,
right?
with a mom like me, like
What
her.
what do you think? What is something that you would suggest to a parent that doesn't know how to talk to their daughters about something like this?
Um, you should probably like get a notebook and like say, hey, this might happen to you later in life or sometime soon. And maybe if they ask something else, you could explain what that is
Yeah.
and what how it works and what happens.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome idea. And especially, I know that I have some like single dads in here, or some single dads that I coach or listen. I know that I coach dads that are married and have wives as well. But if you're really, really close with your baby girls and you are afraid to have these types of conversations, sincerely, like consider the notebook idea, because if that's the case, then you don't have to talk about it face to face, at least not off the bat. And maybe that would help you guys get through that, like really awkward situation and get it out in the open so that everybody knows we're on the same page with things. Because the last thing you want to do is send your girls out there to guess, or by God, get their information from the school bus. That is not where you want that happening. So I love that suggestion though. Like if you're struggling to have these types of conversations, then let's just go ahead and start there. Let's not start with verbal conversations. Let's start with written conversations. I think that's great. And then let's see, there was something else I wanted to say. What was it going to be? Hmm.
Don't say those things on the bus if you ride the bus.
Yes. Okay. So we'll leave it at that. And hopefully you found this episode helpful, and just like having open conversations with your kids. I think it's just really helpful to be very honest. Oh, and that's the other thing I did want to point out. We do use the actual words of the anatomy, right? Like Shae knows what a vagina is and what a penis is, and it's okay to know that she knows what those are. It may be awkward to say those words because everybody's made it taboo, but at the same time, it's important for them to know the actual verbiage that goes along with the body parts that they have, because there's nothing bad about them. They are just body parts, and it's important to understand their functions just like anything else. So I guess we'll leave it with that. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Um, um,
No?
if you're on YouTube, subscribe.
Oh my God. My little saleswoman. All right, I guess so. If you're on YouTube, please hit subscribe. If you are on Apple or Spotify, please remember to tap follow so you can listen to more fun conversations between me and Shae, from myself, as well as other fun guests that I interview. If you need help or you want coaching from real people like myself and my other coaches, Jenna and Jamie, please check out our NH Fitness app. And we also do have a free Facebook group too, so you're welcome to join that. Anyway, have a good one, you all. And we are signing off. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.